Welcome to Technical Writing, English 108 Online. I'm Mike Tardif and I'll be your instructor. It's pretty common for me to make a series of short videos to describe what we're doing in a particular week, and this week is no different. In this short video, what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about myself, a little bit about the course, and to describe to you what we'll be doing in week one of the course. As I said, I'm Mike Tardif. This is my 5th year teaching here at KVCC. I'm a native of Maine. I got my bachelor's degree at the University of Southern Maine in Media Studies and English, and then I got my master's degree at Michigan State University in Rhetoric and Composition. I truly love teaching writing, and I love teaching at the community college level, and technical writing happens to be probably my favorite class to teach for a variety of reasons. One, it's super practical and super helpful for folks entering the workforce, and two, I get to teach a really diverse group of students, and hopefully you'll get to see that as the course goes on. We'll have folks ranging from culinary arts to electrical technology to HVAC, to everything in between, and so we get a really diverse group of people who take the course with a diverse set of needs, and ultimately our goal in this class is to become better writers in the workplace. So first and foremost, I just want to introduce the class, tell you a little bit about what we're going to do in the class, and talk to you a little bit about the syllabus. So technical writing is a 100 level class, and it's meant to really prepare you for the types of writing that you're likely to see in your careers. And so in order to do that, we're going to tackle all sorts of different types of writing. So if you saw the ENG prefix on your schedule and you got a little nervous that we'd be writing essays and long papers, I'm happy to tell you that we won't be. Most of what we'll be writing is really compact and really concise. So we're going to write a series of things in this class that will hopefully exercise a series of skills that will make you better writers in whatever workplace you choose to occupy. First, we're going to write a resume and cover letter, and so we're going to prepare you to enter the job market, and we're going to talk about how to write a really compelling resume and a really easy-to-read resume, and how to write a cover letter that captures who you are, what you're about, and really sort of makes a lasting impression with the employer. Then we're going to write a technical review, so that'll be your opportunity to write a review of your experience with a product or a tool. So you'll have an opportunity to write about something that you feel like you have some level of expertise in. From there, we're going to write a set of instructions, and for my money, I think that's the most important assignment in the entire class. Most workplaces are predicated on policies and procedures, and those procedures need to be really specific and really refined and really well articulated in order for businesses and organizations to run smoothly. And so we're going to write a set of instructions that keep people safe, that produce a reliable outcome, and that are super efficient. So that'll be our 3rd assignment of the semester. After that, we'll write a safety fact sheet, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's a 1-page document that educates your coworkers about a safety or health-related issue in your particular field. So that'll vary for most of you, as you'll have to really think about what that looks like in your field, whether it's culinary arts or in an industrial environment or welding or whatever it is. And then we'll finish the semester with our longest assignment, which is a technical recommendation report, where you ultimately offer and argue for a solution to a particular problem. And we'll get more into those a little bit later. So one of the things that I'm going to ask that you do this week is to take a close look at the syllabus. For some of you, this may be your first college class, so I just want to remind you that the syllabus is really a contract between you and I. It outlines sort of the expectations of the course and how we're going to conduct our business. So it's really important that you know that really well. There are a few things that I want to point out specifically that you should know and become comfortable with. First and foremost is my contact information. So it's really important that you feel comfortable contacting me. In an online course, it can be easy to feel isolated and feel like you don't have any resources to help you other than what's on Blackboard, but that's actually couldn't be further from the truth. I'm here to help you, just as I would be if you were taking the class face-to-face. So there's 2 really important items on there. One is my email address, so if you have a question that's not super time-sensitive, you can send it to me through email, and I'll definitely get back to you within 24 hours. But if you need immediate help or you're having a problem that needs an immediate solution, I would recommend that you text me. And so the number that you'll find on the syllabus is actually my cell phone and not the voicemail number here at the college. So I want you to feel comfortable using those. It's really important to know that I am a resource for you. Another thing that I want to point out is the attendance policy. So as you'll come to learn, there are 2 check-in days in this class, Thursday and Sunday. And so it's really important that you're submitting the work by those prescribed due dates. The cool thing is that the course is set up, I think, in a really simple and intuitive and user-friendly way, in that every week you're going to get a checklist that has a pretty laid out description of what we're going to be doing and when I expect it. So things are either going to be due on Thursday or Sunday, and if you miss one of those due dates, I'm going to have to mark you absent. So, and you don't want to be marked absent in the class because, as the syllabus tells you, there's penalties for that, and ultimately if you miss too many classes, I'll have to drop you or fail you from the class, and I don't want to have to do that. So it's really important that you stay on top of the work. Now, one thing that you'll come to learn is that, we're all human and things happen, and I'm willing to accommodate those things. All I ask is that you're as proactive as possible. Another thing that's really important to point out about the syllabus is the revision policy. So you're going to do a series of assignments in this course, and they're worth quite a bit relative to your grade. So take, for example, the resume, which is worth 20%. It's really important that you do well on those, but I understand that sometimes in the first try or the first go-through, even if we've done a series of revisions and you've gotten my feedback, you still might have a little ways to go. So one thing that I've built into the course is the option to revise any assignment. So all I ask is that within about a week of receiving your grade, you complete the revision, so you improve the assignment, and you write a brief description of what you did to improve it so that I know that you're not just making sort of arbitrary changes that I recommended, but that you're doing it in a way that's meaningful and ultimately improving the document. What that ultimately means is that you're in the driver's seat as it pertains to your grade. So if you want to get an A in this class, I have no question in my mind that that is something that you can absolutely do. So use that policy to your advantage. Other things that are worth noting on the syllabus: I don't accept late work, especially in an online class. So we're going to work at a pretty brisk pace, and I don't have time to circle back around and catch up with late work. So if you don't turn something in on time, unfortunately, that's your only opportunity to turn it in. I want you to also pay attention to the grading schedule or the grading weights that are outlined on the syllabus. Not everything in this class is created equally, so if you have to miss an assignment, I would recommend that it not be one of the major final drafts of an assignment, because those are worth a significant portion of your grade. If you have to miss something, it should probably be a homework assignment or a little miscellaneous writing assignment, and if you have any questions about that, I'm more than happy to answer that. So take a close look at that syllabus, study it, get to know it, because that really is our operational document. That's how we're going to conduct our business, and that's how this class is going to operate. If you have any problems with Blackboard or any technology, I need you to let me know. As you probably have seen, we don't have a textbook, which means that all of the readings, and there will be readings, will be supplied through Blackboard, either as a link to a website or as a downloadable file. If you have trouble with those for any reason, and technology sometimes can be a bear, just let me know, and we'll make some sort of accommodation, and I'll make sure that you get a copy of that reading so that you can do it in a timely fashion. Okay, so that's really what the syllabus is all about. So this week number 1, sort of getting our feet wet. There's a couple of things that I'm asking you to do. One is to do a brief reading about the top 10 tips for email writing. And so let me just preface this by saying email writing is incredibly important. It's probably the single most important type of writing somebody can do as they enter the workforce. All the time I talk to employers, and they always ask me, do you teach your students how to write emails in your class? And they're not asking that in a flippant way. They're asking that because it's so important. A lot of times we're communicating with people, whether they're partners or vendors or clients, through email. And so the thing about email is that we're not there to contextualize things. We're not there to illustrate things with our body language or our demeanor or our tone or the inflection of our voice. So we have to be really skilled at writing emails because they really represent us when we're not there. And so it's really important for us to understand the aspects and the qualities and the techniques for producing professional emails, because they really do go a long way in making a first impression. I can tell you that, and I'm a pretty forgiving guy and I'm a pretty understanding guy, when I get an email that's not very professional and I've never met the person before, it paints my understanding of who that person is. But when I get one that's really thoughtful and really professional, I have a really positive perspective on that person, even though I've never met them. And so email is really important to our credibility as professionals. It can sometimes be our first interaction with a future employer. It can be our first interaction with a customer or a client. It can be our first interaction with somebody who's going to become or could become a very important professional contact for us. So it's really important for us to take those 10 tips to heart. A few of the things that I would really like to underscore are you need to have a really good subject line. In the business world, if you haven't already, you'll learn that you're going to get bombarded by email, and one of the things that you can do as a courtesy to your reader is help them prioritize and sort of triage their inbox by giving them a really clear and descriptive subject line that lets them know what the email is about, what it pertains to, what project, what class, what day, what meeting, so that they can sort of, again, organize and prioritize their inbox. It just helps the reader sort of anticipate what the email is going to be about. Maybe they need to gather some documentation or some other information before they sit down to take care of the business of that particular email. I would also encourage you to use a salutation. You really can't go wrong here as long as you're not, incorporating slang. So you shouldn't say, "Yo, Mr. Tardif." Maybe you should say, "Good afternoon, Mike," or "Hello, Mr. Tardif." You can use "dear." That's probably the most formal of our options, but it's good to have a salutation. It just sort of leads us into the email. As far as writing the body of the email, it's really important for us to be concise. And by concise, I mean we want to articulate our message in as few words as possible. People are busy, and people don't have time to read long-winded, verbose, unnecessarily wordy emails. So you need to get to your point as quickly as possible. So that's really important to us. And sometimes that's, our sentence level writing. We can just sort of manipulate the words that we use and the order that we use them. But we can also do things with formatting. So we want to make sure that we use, really short paragraphs. We don't want to be sending these big, dense blocks of text. We can use bold words to highlight things that are important. We can highlight things. So what we want to do is just communicate our message as quickly as possible. And so it's really important for us to put the most important information first, so that our reader kind of understands what they need to do, what action they need to take. And so that's really important. I would also encourage you to avoid slang. I would encourage you to avoid using sort of like text speak, so you shouldn't abbreviate needlessly. Again, this is your digital representation of yourself, and you want to put your best foot forward. You should always close the email by thanking the person for their time, giving them any contact information that they need. One of the things that you're going to hear me say a lot in this class is that good writing is really just the anticipation of readers' needs. And so if we can anticipate what our reader's going to need to take action, to solve the problem, then we need to sort of include that in the email. So really pay close attention to that top 10 list. I think it's a fun little reading, and it'll give you a good sense of how you should format the email that you're going to write to your classmates to introduce yourself. Now, as you read those emails, I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. One, I want you to pay attention to the diversity of people in our class in terms of where they're from. So KVCC is located in an area where we have a large catchment. And what I mean by that is that we pull people from the foothills all the way to the mid-coast, all the way up to the Bangor area, all the way down past Augusta, really just to north of Lewiston and Auburn. So we have a big area that we pull from, and that results in people coming from a lot of different walks of life and a lot of different backgrounds. The other thing I would encourage you to pay attention to is the diversity of programs. As I alluded to earlier, this class is notorious for having a very diverse group of people in it, and so it's important for you to know that we may have folks who are in the healthcare field, we may have folks who are in the trades, we may have folks who are in technology, and so that's really interesting, and you'll get to know your classmates through this class, I have no doubt. And then finally, the final little assignment for this week is to begin thinking about our resume. That's our lead-off assignment. I'll tell you that when I read course feedback, that's the assignment that students really enjoy the most and feel like they get the most out of, probably because it has a cash value. If you write a really good resume and cover letter, it could lead to an interview and it could lead to a job, and it does often for my students. I'm not bragging, but maybe I am a little bit. It's a point of pride for me, but students tend to do really well on the job market when they use the materials that we produce in this class. And so I want you to pay close attention to the lessons. But first I want you to think about what in your experience, or what do you know about resumes? What do you think the qualities of a really effective resume are? So what should a resume look like? How should it be formatted maybe? What types of language should it include? What should it include? What shouldn't it include? So I just want to sort of pick your brain and see what you already know about this. And then in the ensuing weeks, through week about 4, we're really going to refine our understanding of what a good resume is. And so we're going to talk about formatting and language and length and what to include and what not to include. And so we're just kind of dipping our toe into that right now. So that's English 108, week 1. And so the number one thing is to reach out to me if you need anything at all. This class is meant to be interactive and dynamic. And so that's incumbent upon you to reach out to me. I will do my best to keep you engaged and to keep you in the loop with everything that you need to know about this class. But unlike in a face-to-face class, I can't see the look of confusion on your face. I can't see that you're befuddled. I might be able to tell from your work, but oftentimes that's too late. So if you're having trouble with anything at all, be it technology, be it the lessons in the class, be it a particular aspect of a singular assignment. I need to know about it so that I can make some sort of intervention for you. I will tell you I have a lot of students this semester, so I need you to do your part to let me know what you need so that I can follow through and give it to you. So again, you've got my email, you've got my phone number, and all I ask is that you put it to good use. So good luck in week number 1, and I hope that you enjoy the beginning of the class. Thanks.